Innovate or die. I'm going to better explain how to make your business work for you. Hello everyone, this is Joel Davis with the United Medical Transportation Providers Group, and you are the broker.com, helping you to build a highly effective, highly profitable broker business. I want to apologize for any confusion I may have had in a previous video where I talked about innovating your business. I got a great email from Dawn, and again, I want to apologize in advance because I think maybe I confused her, because in her email she wrote, "Joel, thank you so much for all the work that you do. I've been following you for quite some time. It appears that I'm a little confused by your last video where you talked about innovating your business. My business is doing just over $500,000 a year in sales, but I feel that we've plateaued." And I'm scrolling through my phone, and you mentioned innovation, but innovation, I have no additional funds to innovate, and I'm concerned about when you talk about innovation, you're talking about technology. I'm not sure in what direction I can move or what to do next. Can you please clarify and share more insight? Thank you, Dawn. Dawn, again, I apologize for the confusion, because when I'm talking about innovation, I'm not literally talking about technology. I'm not expecting all of you guys out there to go out there and become software companies, SaaS companies, or really invest in the technology. What I'm referring to with innovating your business is first and foremost modifying your overall business model. I mean, there's a lot of different things now. You mentioned that you're doing $500,000 in sales, but you don't mention exactly where that money is comprised from. Is it heavy Medicaid? Is it all Medicaid? Is it all private pay? Is it all contracted work? You didn't mention that, so I'm just going to speculate and guess. But there is always things you could be doing and you should be doing to evaluate your business model. Bottom line, there's always opportunity for growth. Now, I'm always going to pick on the brokers because they're so easy to pick on. They're so pick-onable. So many people who, when they contact us for help and we start to pull back the sheets and open up the doors and see how their business model is structured, a lot of times they're so heavily invested into Medicaid and broker work. And again, if you've watched any of my previous videos, you know how I feel about them. It's not that you don't do broker work, it's just that you need to make sure that it's profitable broker work. You need to sometimes limit it or use it just to complement your existing work. So again, I don't know exactly what your $500,000 in annual revenue is comprised of, but I guarantee that if we were to pull back the sheets and see what's under the covers, there are ways for us to modify that business model to maybe the innovation. I'll give you a classic example. Someone I'm working with right now, we are really looking at doing more distance transports because she's in a great area where we can go after a lot of mileage work, deadhead miles work, waiting times, things of that nature, which is really going to start to revolutionize her business model. So rather than just focusing on her immediate area, our innovation is really augmenting and transitioning her business model to really go after distance work. We're talking about transports that are going to take a couple hours to get out there to more rural areas. But those are going to be really, really good money makers for her. So that's a form of innovation. And again, I understand that maybe by me using the term innovation, people automatically think, technology. That's not the case. So first and foremost, when I'm talking about the actual innovation, we got to audit your business model itself. So maybe we need to transition your sources of revenue. Maybe you are the heavily invested in the Medicaid work. We need to transition that. Maybe we need to start going after more of the private pay and the contracted work. Maybe the innovation for you, and I'm just speculating, maybe you got 10 vehicles, and of the 10 vehicles, maybe if we actually reduced your fleet down to 6 or 7 vehicles, you'd actually reduce your overhead and actually increase your profit margin. At that point in time, maybe then we actually do something even crazier and we augment your business by bringing on and starting a home care service. I work with a lot of providers out there who are in the home care agency. And again, if you pull back the covers and get under the sheets, you'll see a lot of times they're all Medicaid work, all Medicare work. It's all that government stuff. See, here's the problem. I always default back to this. So many people, they don't want to work. They just want to go after the low-hanging fruit. And I get it. It's easy. But there's no innovation in that. There's no innovation in that. Everyone just wants to go after the low-hanging fruit. Whereas if you just invest, look, I understand there's a lot of stuff online. There's a lot of knockoff. There's a lot of freebies. There's stuff out there telling you, just go get a car, get some insurance, hand out business cards. If you want to make a lot of money, go do some drop shipping out of China, go do some affiliate online marketing, do some pyramid schemes and all that kind of stuff. Look, anything that I'm teaching you, whether it's the NEMT, the home care courier, my broker business, anything along those lines, it requires work in the upfront. But that's, if you invest these time, effort, and sweat equity, your business will start to take off. And I'll talk more about that in future videos in terms of how your business model, when you innovate and you build an effective business model and you put the best players on the field, you can see your business will start to take off almost on, it'll almost start to take on a life of its own, which is phenomenal. That's exactly what you want. At that point in time, it's just coaching and managing at that point in time, which is awesome. But again, maybe part of the innovation for you is not just expanding and redefining your actual transportation business. Maybe it's also, let's augment it with some home care services and going after some of that private pay market. Maybe it's the companion care, the private duty services. But again, there's so many different ways to innovate beyond just technology. Now, let me pick on technology. Well, in fact, before I talk about technology, let me see another thing. Another thing that I see all the time, even something as simple as like web design. So many people, when they contact us, either A, they don't have a website, B, their website looks like crap. It looks like they've made it, in their home office. They're not very good at communicating it or connecting or with their target market, the audience. They're not sharing their story. I call it sharing your story. We want to create the story based upon your past experiences, who you are, your education, possible business partners. What brought you to this point? So maybe you're starting a home care service. What brought you to this point? You want to share that story so you can further connect with the people that you're going to be serving, or your medical transportation business. What brought you to this point? What gave you the idea? Let's convey that and share that, because that's authentic. That's who you are. Well, let's share that with your audience. The audience are the people, is everybody. It's the people that you actually serve. It's the staff of the facilities and the hospitals and nursing homes, the people you interact with, that you're going to be doing work with. And maybe you're doing work with them, but also maybe you're transporting their mother or their grandmother. So you want to share your story. You want to be authentic and put that out there. And there's different forms of media that we want to take advantage of, whether it's your website, different forms of direct marketing. We want all of those things to be interrelated. So that is another form of innovation, is your actual branding is innovation. So one thing that's critical when we're working with people is we want to focus on that branding aspect. It's important because you need to connect with your patients. You need to connect with your clients. You need to connect with the end users. Now, in jumping to the actual technology part, listen, it's interesting because I've been working with client providers literally since 2004. So we're heading in towards 2020. So let's say for the last 15, 16 years, I've been working with client providers around the country, and it's been phenomenal. I can assure you over that time, the NEMT industry, and I'm going to keep picking on them because it's so easy, especially with Medicaid brokers. I can assure you the industry has changed immeasurably. Let me give you a couple examples, and I've always predicted it. And there is one thing that people can't argue about, is that I tend to be, I've been wrong on certain things, but I tend to be right when I look at certain patterns, how things are going to develop and evolve. Back in the day, because we have our dispatching software system, DME, and everybody would solicit us. Back in the day, everyone was soliciting us to endorse, to start using, to integrate with their GPS systems. And no, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. Why? Because at that point in time, I knew it was only a matter of time before GPSs become commonplace in cell phones. I mean, the writing was on the wall. All you had to do was look 3-5 years out. You knew what was coming. So why, when people still will periodically ask us, well, do you guys use GPSs in vehicles, this and that? Why would I need to do that? Why would I need to pay the extra cost and then integrate them, connect it, when realistically, every person has a cell phone and they're a walking GPS. So why would we have to do that? And if they're driving one of our vehicles, then we know where they are. We know where that van is. So we never did that. We never invested into that or endorsed anything because we knew technology was going to provide the solution, and it was a matter of just waiting it out and planning and preparing our trajectory according to what technology was going to deliver. So, and then the apps just made it that much easier and that much easier. Another thing, the brokers. Okay, once Obamacare came out, I'm sure that I am probably one of about maybe 5 people. When Obamacare first came out, I literally was one of probably 5 people on the planet. Even our politicians never read all 2,000 pages. Guess what? I did. In fact, I even remember one time I was giving one of my seminars down in Virginia, and there were some people who were upset because I literally took excerpts from the actual original Obamacare, put them up there, and shared how it's going to change the medical industry and how it's going to affect our support services, things like NEMT, home care, things like that. And there's people who got upset because I was bashing their boy Obama and the stupid plan Obamacare. And then fast forward, how many businesses, boom, started to get annihilated with the employee mandate, things of that nature. But anyways, the rise, I shouldn't say the rise, but the explosion, the exorbitant multiplication of the Medicaid brokers was really spawned by Obamacare. Okay, Obamacare expanded Medicaid enrollment by 133+%. So that was like bloody water for feeding sharks. Boom, that's why we had the explosion of all these Medicaid brokers. However, let me tell you what's going to happen here in the future. In the future, if you were to go right now and you were to pull back the sheets and look under the cover at some of these brokers, morale is not good. All is not well. There's a reason why they're continuously scrambling and fighting each other for market share and positioning and jockeying for key position in different markets. Morale is not well. I can assure you that. Why? Because eventually the machines win. Technology wins. Let me tell you something. All these driverless cars, i.e. Technology, it eventually is going to start further eradicating the actual brokers. Because at that point in time, there's not going to be a need for that middleman in regards to the NEMT industry. Think about it. What is the bread and butter, the foundation of everything that Medicaid brokers love? Ambulatory. Because they get paid the same amount of rate as they would. Their funding and reimbursements from the states and the federal government, it doesn't matter if it's ambulatory, if it's wheelchair or stretcher. Why they love ambulatory so much is because for you, the transportation provider, that's the cheapest form of reimbursement, which means the Medicaid brokers pocket all that money. However, they are going to be losing in the future. The technology, the machines win. I promise you, technology is further eradicating. It's a slow burn, but it's coming. It's eradicating the Medicaid broker system, because what's going to be their purpose at that point in time? Think about the Ubers and the Lyfts. You have drivers out there thinking they're building a business, they're making money, they're building a job. They are allowing the Ubers and the Lyfts to build their technology on their backs, on their platform. And I have no problem with it. I mean, it is what it is. It's just the laws of economics. It's just human nature. It is what it is. And I'm not hating on any drivers who drive for Ubers and Lyft. If anything, they hate on me because I keep telling them, you don't own a job, or you don't own a business, you own a job. And it's true. But guess what? All the while they're driving for the Ubers and the Lyfts of the world and all the other rideshare companies, all that technology, billions upon billions upon billions of dollars is being invested to essentially eradicate them. Why carry the labor cost? Let's translate that over to the Medicaid brokers. What you will see in the future is that the Medicaid brokers are going to slowly begin to become undermined and eradicated because the machines win. At the end of the day, the government can invest in the technology to make it more of an automated system. And that bread and butter, the foundational source of revenue, the real profit earning, the profit source center for the Medicaid brokers, that ambulatory work, eventually there will be no need for them at that point in time. And that'll be a beautiful thing. Because again, everyone knows that the brokers hate me. Hey, I love them because they give me an opportunity to fight them, and I always love a good fight. So that's fun. Anyways, how does all of this blabber, how does all of this nonsensical talk affect you? When I talk about innovation, I'm not talking about you going out and spending millions of dollars in developing your own software systems. Hey, I've done that, and that's great, but I had the budget to do that. Most people don't. I understand that. If you're a smaller business, a mom and pop starting by yourself, maybe with a partner, maybe maybe you got 5 vehicles, 10 vehicles, you need to innovate. There are things that you could do where you don't need to invest millions of dollars into software. That's not what I'm talking about with innovation. But what you need to do is work on actually auditing your business, auditing the way you do business, auditing your sources of revenue, and then begin to think outside the box. How can you literally transition your business model? How do you transition your business model taking into consideration that change is here? Change is always going to be happening. Technology is going to assure that. There is no stopping technology, whether it's even if it's just something online, if it's social media, if it's a resource, if it's like a dispatching system or a resource that you leverage to grow and operate your business, it is what it is. Nothing is going to stop innovation or technology. So for everybody who thinks that tomorrow is never going to come, there's never going to be driverless cars, you're crazy. There's no putting it back in the box. Technology will always win. Do you realize that right now, billions upon billions upon billions of dollars are being invested into AI, but not just AI. They're developing technologies so that machines educate themselves. Think about that. There are technologies out there being developed to educate themselves. That's why I jokingly say, but it's true, man. The machines are going to win one day. So if you've ever seen the old movies Terminator, go watch them, man, because the machines are going to win one day. Because the machines are learning to educate themselves. And I promise you, they're going to learn a heck of a lot faster than someone like me or you. That's guaranteed. So anyways, going back to your business, you have to think, you have to audit your business, think of how you play the hand that you're dealt. Play the hand that you're dealt. If you're in an urban area, if you're a rural area, if you're centrally located, you could do both. You could serve local, you could serve distance. What do you have for not just transportation? What do you have for home care? Different types of the broker business. What do you have for different types of delivery services? The possibilities are endless, but bottom line is you need to audit and then develop innovative strategies to further grow and expand your business. Now look, if you're comfortable where you are, well then stay there and you'll die. Your business is going to be stagnant because other people are going to come in. They're going to be more motivated than you. They're going to leverage technologies. They're going to leverage innovation. And guess what? They're going to exceed you. So you will lose market share. So going back to your email, Dawn, I know I've been long-winded. And I got the habit of doing that because, hey, man, I love to talk. I love to engage. And I appreciate your question, Dawn. But going back to your question, again, first and foremost, let me be accountable and apologize because maybe I didn't explain it well enough in the previous video. But when I talk about innovation, first thing I guess a lot of people will think is technology. I'm not saying you need to go out and invest in a lot of technology. Let me give you another quick example. Logisticare solicited us a few years ago, wanted us to invest a couple $100,000 to make our DME compatible with their system. Now, why would I do that with Logisticare? Knowing that Logisticare operates differently in different states, A, because they're all incorporated differently in different states. B, they could have the contract in, let's say, Illinois. Let's say they have the contract in Illinois. They could have it today and lose it tomorrow, or any other state. Pick any state you want. But my point is, they come and go. So why would I invest all this money to integrate with Logisticare, who I will always default and say is the nation's largest and worst broker to deal with? Because I can assure you from firsthand experience, and working with all these client providers, they are the worst. But why would I invest all that money? So that is not a good tactical or strategic investment for me, so I wouldn't do that. Likewise for you, going back to your business, yeah, I understand you're not investing in the actual software systems, but when you partner with the broker, guess what? You are investing in them. You're investing your time and effort. You will invest. Some people will they'll sign a contract with a Medicaid broker. They will go out and invest in vehicles, thinking that, hey, we're going to blow this thing up off the backs of brokers. And what happens if A, they cut you off at any point in time, B, they lose the contract, a new broker comes in, You're not guaranteed the same trip volume. You're not guaranteed the same rates of reimbursement. That's why I always talk about, as you innovate your business, you want to be closest to the customer. You want your end user to be that customer. Versus if you're partnering with a broker, guess what? Your end user is ultimately, you don't think so, but it's true. Your end user is the broker, not that person, John Doe, that you're transporting. Because that broker, you're not guaranteed to get John Doe. They could pull them and give them to somebody else. They could cut you off altogether. And yet here it is, you've gone off and you've invested in vehicles and employees and infrastructure to satisfy something that ultimately is not guaranteed to you. Whereas if you organically build your business where you are in direct connection with your customers, you build that customer intimacy. That's where the true stability and the foundation of your business will come. So again, to all of you, I know I'm long-winded, I know I blabber, but I hope you found some good points of interest in this. Dawn, thanks again for your great email. I chose to share this one. Again, thanks to all of you guys for your emails. We get a lot of them, that's great. Keep sending them, because something like this, when I see a great email like Dawn's email, I'm sure there's other people that have similar sentiments, similar questions, and I welcome the opportunity to share, so keep sending them. Dawn, innovate your business to ensure you don't die, because when you innovate your business and you make more money, I'll see you at the top.